Hey guys, Sean again. Please do the regular like, subscribe, share, comment. Looking forward to the discussion. This is one of those days, guys. It just hit me. We're gonna be talking about the Uvalde, Texas elementary school shooting. 19 children were murdered, and 2 adults perished with them. This is a tragedy, guys, and just having kids in the public elementary school system, it just gets me frustrated on what happened, and I am admittedly fearful. I don't want something like this to happen to my kids or anybody's children. This is just horrible. So I want to talk about some of the rules and regulations that pertain to private security, armed private security in the school district system in California, and some other technical analysis of the entire situation. So information comes and goes. The latest information that we have is this murderer had his car parked somewhere near the school. A school resource officer, an armed Unified School District police officer that was stationed somewhere in the front of the campus, observed this person taking out the AR-15 and leaving his rifle. There's some type of gun battle that ensued. The school resource officer was hit and unable to continue the fight for the campus. We do know that the Border Patrol SWAT team was called, and they got there really, really fast. My understanding that one of the members from the Border Patrol SWAT team, also known as BORTAC, took out this murderer. I see some photographs of some guys in red shirts with weapons. I want to believe that those are possibly range masters or some type of instructors that happen to be in the area. We always talk about, let's put an armed guard, let's put an armed police officer on these campuses, and nothing like this will happen. It still happened. So instead of just concentrating on just putting people out there, how about tactics? Now, this is the unfortunate thing about law enforcement and security. We're in Texas, where people are able to walk around freely. They have a constitutional right in that state to bear arms and to open carry. And I believe in Texas, I'm not from Texas, guys. If you're from Texas, please inform me. In Texas, you are able to carry a long gun, locked and loaded in a public area. I don't believe that you can do that in a school safety zone, but these people obviously don't care about the school safety zones. Seeing something like that in Texas, somebody coming out with a rifle, might not be an anomaly. It might be something that's usual. But I'll tell you this, in California, and I don't agree with the majority of the laws that come out of California when it pertains to gun control, but in California, as an armed guard, as an armed police officer, if I saw somebody on campus getting out with a rifle out of their car, that would be an anomaly. That's not the baseline. This is something that is highly unusual. And if I see him get out of the car and start walking towards the campus, am I able to engage in a lethal encounter? Can I fire my gun? And this is the problem that we're having in modern day law enforcement, modern day security. So if you guys have been in the military, please correct me. Please let me know how this works. I've never been in the military. That's why I'm asking you. But correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody is setting up an IED device, you could take them out. Is that not correct? Transitioning over to civilian world, okay, this guy's getting out of the car, maybe not presenting the rifle yet, but walking towards the campus. Can I take him out? And I would argue that it depends, but it's not so clear as if you were in the military on an overseas operation. This is where these gunmen gain the advantage. So I need to be aggressively manipulating that weapon towards a police officer, an armed citizen, or a private security officer. I need to be aggressively manipulating that weapon in that person's direction or again, just in general, aggressively manipulating a weapon in order for me to use lethal force. That's a disadvantage that we have, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to advocate for practicing at 25 yards. At 25 yards, especially if somebody has a rifle, you should be able to tell whether or not this person is aggressively manipulating or handling that weapon at 25 yards. It's not a shot that you should take, especially if you don't have that proper level of training. I'll tell you this, as a private security firearms instructor, the course that California requires of us to carry a firearm is dysfunctional. It's not appropriate. There needs to be a lot more training requirements. Now, I'm not saying that the government should instill or require more training requirements. I'm more of a hands-off government guy. I believe as an individual, as a private security officer, it's your duty to seek out that training. I don't think that we should make it mandatory, the government should make it mandatory. I'm saying that the exposed firearm permit carry course is not sufficient to handle an active shooter incident. We qualified the farthest at 15 yards, and you're not moving and shooting. It's not dynamic. It's a paper target. It stays where it's at. There's nothing dynamic, nothing tactical about the California exposed firearm permit. I'm advocating to you guys, seek out better training, intermediate level training, advanced training, and that will increase your survivability. It will increase the survivability of the kids that you promise to protect. These can be your children, guys. But it's your job to be that proficient. I know some of you are saying, well, it's too expensive. What does it cost to society when one of these children are massacred? What does it cost? I think a $500 course where I can have at least an intermediate level of training, I think it's worth it. If I can better protect the people that I'm trying to protect, that I promise to protect, I think it's worth it. I think this $500 course, $700 course that you work so hard for, I think money is better spent on that course than this fancy gun that you're planning on buying. And that's just my personal opinion. I always want to hear your perspective as well. In California, there was an assembly bill, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I want to say it's 424. It was authored by Kevin McCarty, not to be mixed up with Kevin McCarthy. This is Kevin McCarty. He's a Democrat in California. And what he basically did is he authored a bill to eliminate a school administrator's discretion on who can be armed on campus. He wrote this bill, and you know what he said, you guys? You know what this Democrat said? He said, we want to reduce the amount of guns that are in schools because we want to reduce the amount of shootings that occur on campus. If we allow our administrators to have firearms, there's going to be more shootings. Well, you know what? If an armed intruder enters the campus and threatens our children, there better be a shooting, and those shots better be coming from the administrator. I say this with frustration, I say it with anger, and I say it with some hope. If there's any type of shooting, it should come from the administrator in a reasonable manner within district policy. I want there to be a shooting as long as it's justified. Kevin McCarty, you guys elected him. Sacramento district. He's a California senator. You guys voted for him. You voted for him. And in essence, you're voting for these laws that prevent school districts on what they need to do to prevent an act of violence like this from happening again. I did a poll. Who should we vote for governor? And I mentioned in particular who is the best fit for California governor when it relates to private security or private investigations. I have my own thoughts about who should be governor, who should be president, but this is just private security and private investigations. Feel free to go back to that poll and please vote. It's on the community section of the page. About 70, I'm estimating the numbers, we had about 50 votes. About 77% of you voted for Brian Daley as a new governor for the state of California. 77%. About 13% of you mentioned that you would vote for another person but did not disclose who. That doesn't help anybody, you guys. Who else should we choose? The other 11%, and I do have to give them some respect. Well, I do respect them actually for taking a vote. 11% voted for Gavin Newsom, and it changes every day depending on how many votes. So about 77% for Brian Dale, Republican governor, about 13% other, and nobody gave the name of the other, and then about 11%, sometimes 13% depending on the day, for Gavin Newsom. It is a Democratic governor that signs these crazy laws into the books. So you want to know who signed AB 424 into the books? Can't blame Gavin Newsom all the time. It was the guy right before him, Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown, another Democrat, another person that you guys keep voting to office. So what are the rules? In order for somebody to have a firearm in a school safety zone, there's some exemptions. But the most common exemption is you need to have a private security guard that's working under a private patrol operator license. Number 2, an active duty law enforcement officer. Number 3, a retired law enforcement officer. Those are the 3 levels of security that can be on these campuses with a firearm for the most part. Police officers, retired police officers, peace officers, and private security officers who are under a private patrol operator license. Okay, these are the only ones that can be armed with a firearm on school campus. About right after, sometime around the Sandy Hook shooting, another elementary school massacre, there was an assembly bill that came out of California. It was actually bipartisan, meaning I believe Republicans and Democrats pushed this bill forward. And that was to assign either a sworn SRO, student resource officer, or an armed private security officer to every single campus in California. I did some math. That would amount to a little bit over 200,000 different campuses. Guys, this is a bill that California cannot afford. I don't know how you would be able to afford that. That would drive California, I think, way, way deep into the red. Every single campus, every single elementary school. If you are a private patrol operator, this would have been a business opportunity for you. Guys, there will most likely be a bill that will be pushed in California or even in your state that will be something similar to that. I was against that bill because there was no way California would afford to be able to do that. Now, how about we get rid of all these social welfare programs? And I'm not 100% against social welfare, but I believe that after a certain amount of time, you should be able to function individually, not your whole life depending on government handouts. How about we slash some of these programs? How about we slash some of these legal programs that are designed for people that aren't even supposed to be here? We slash those programs and start directing that money to the American people, to Californians that need protection. I don't want $1 million of my tax money going to people that don't even belong here anyways. How about we take care of us Californians? Californians come first. How about we change the narrative? Californians first. If you're from another state, maybe you're from Texas, Oregon, how about Oregonians, if that's the proper term, first? Texans, how about Texans first? How about Alabamians first? How about Ohioans first? How about Floridans first? How about our people? How about we come first? We slash these programs that can help pay for armed security at these schools. Now, I'm not saying that more guns are the solution to an active shooter situation. It's not, because we've seen that sometimes it fails. It does delay the shooter, I'll tell you that. But we need training. We need more training, guys. A well-trained person with a firearm has very good potential of stopping the active shooter. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this. I hate to say this, but this is an opportunity if you have a private security company. Usually after an awful situation like this, there's panic in the school districts. They start wanting armed security, armed law enforcement presence. Guys, in my state, California, they have taken away firearms from the police officers. They don't want them on campus with their guns. They've done that. They've done it in Oregon. They've done it in other states. That's not the answer to this. When that senator, California Senator Kevin McCarty, when he got that bill signed, you guys want to know what the effect was? School administrators lost the authority to determine who is armed on campus. Some teachers were able to be armed. Principals, vice principals, the secretaries, whoever the school administrator deemed was able to carry that firearm, they were able to do that right before Kevin McCarty pushed this bill to the governor and got it signed. Now, I'm not saying that a firearm is a solution every single time. And I'm not saying that every single administrator for the schools should be armed. I'm not saying every single teacher should be armed. But how about we give those teachers, those administrators that are willing to go forth with the training, the proper training in order to stop an active shooter, how about we allow them to carry a firearm? How about we get rid of AB 424? To tell you guys the truth, I would feel safer if our administrators, at least one that was well-trained and is qualified to carry a firearm, would be able to carry a firearm on campus. Guys, if you have any children that are elementary school age, preschool age, junior high age, high school age, regardless of where you are, today I pray for their safety every single day. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Looking forward to the dialogue. Like, share, subscribe.